Hey folks, welcome back to Let's Play Bloodstained. Ritual of bad stuff. I'm Serious JG. Pay no attention to where it gives you accurate time and date information for when I'm playing this. I mean, I guess if you care, you can look. It kind of bothers me that you guys can see that, but not ending. Like, it ain't breaking my desire to play the game or anything like that. But yeah, I probably should be trying to get some rest. Instead, I'm gonna get a little bit more of this done.
Staying up late tonight?
Yes, Johannes.
So,
thanks for calling that out.
Come back if things start to go awry.
Come back and try again later.
Enemy officer certainly was defeated, I gotta say.
Well, hold on. Now I should think. How much money have I got? 8,000. Should I get like an 8-bit coin and craft a good for this point in the game Whoppet?
I have something new to offer you. What are you looking to buy?
Well, still can't buy Brigandine, whatever the heck that armor was called. I'm forgetting now. See, I kind of just out of old school Castlevania nod want to get good with the whip, but it's not really being that great a weapon.
What are you looking to buy?
Oh, this is just everything I can buy. Never mind. But what does this actually do for me now that I've already eaten one? I think it says hit point recovery, but it's not saying. Which is mildly annoying. Poison, I think we just are patient and advance further in the game. We'll find enemies that drop it. 8-bit coin. I just saved, and it's half my money.
Is this right? Then we have a deal. Thank you. Come back any...
It's half my money. But we got an awful lot more before we can get 16 or 32, so...
Staying up late tonight?
Yes, I am. Get off my case, man. Here we go. Thorn Whip. Flame Whip is really interesting, but it's going to be a while before we got all that stuff. Ambivalence. Whip bound by powers of darkness. Charge it to release its light. Is that actually doing less damage than just regular old whip that I have equipped? Oh, I don't know what I have equipped at this moment. Well, there's various things that have 8-bit coin as their ingredient. I could get a Black Dragon's Ode. Fall in love with a fairy. Uses Renee's Requiem, using his soul. Chisels away all of your... Not a sickle. Chisels away all of your enemies. It gives you ice and stone, and... That's kind of interesting. Let's see what this does. And if it's terrible...
There, all done.
If it's like really dumb, I'll just load. Because actually I'm already thinking, that's like half my money. That is probably not a good call. But it's a whip. Actually, it does do better attack than what I started with. But oh, I had Thorn Whip. That's why. I probably should have stuck with Thorn Whip. Charge it to release its light. What the hell does that mean? Oh. I guess that means that it's now light elemental. Does extra damage to certain enemies. That's kind of neat, but it's probably not worth half my money. So let's actually go back to the title screen. It's going to take forever. Probably shouldn't have done that. I guess I wasn't realizing, oh yeah, we got our hands on a Thorn Whip. We already have an upgraded version from the original whip, which... does more raw attack damage. It's not capable of inflicting light element. But I don't think light element is just additional damage. It just means enemies that are weak against light will suffer additional damage. It's not like a Neo, where unless an enemy literally absorbs fire, having fire damage on your weapon means you do regular melee damage plus fire damage on top of your base melee damage. I'm pretty sure in this game, you just have a certain amount of melee damage you're doing, and enemies have a certain resistance for light, or holy, whatever you want to call it, and for just the type of melee damage whips do, and they are figured in with the enemy's defense. Does that make sense? Did I just explain it in a way that suggests there is a bonus? Anyway, sure. Yeah, that's the right amount. It's like, I sure hope I did. I thought I had saved. Maybe I didn't. I thought I saved at the end of the previous video. If not, I might have just lost some content, but I don't think so. And by content, I don't mean content. I mean I might have just lost some progress. You will still have seen everything on the interwebs. But yeah, I think we're good. Now, I don't know any special techniques for this. You noticed way earlier, a couple of videos ago, we learned a kick technique. In fact, I actually mastered that off screen using it, but that still doesn't mean I'm going to frequently find uses for it on screen. It's hit arc I'm not used to. It's like, stuff that's too close doesn't receive damage. Anyway, let's actually go into the castle. Well, I guess not quite yet. Now a bat. I'm probably eventually going to be trying to get crystals for them. It's a bit of an interesting screen. Capacity, bullet capacity increased. Bullet capacity, do a little dance about bullet capacity. Ah, I had forgotten about this mechanic. These are the teleport stations of this game, jumping you from one map section to another quickly. This is the first one. There's no place else for us to teleport to. But that station will be probably the most used one, because this place, with its item shop and alchemy shop, is going to be kind of our headquarters, and the place that I... Certainly any time I was playing the game and, like, ending an entire session... Does session apply when you're not Let's Playing? Yeah, sort of. Like, whenever I had played the game for an hour or two or three and was going to stop for a while and come back the next day, I would pretty consistently come to that place to save. Here's the bat. I am not figuring out these bats. There are just screens where, like, you know exactly how the bat's going to fly at you, and if you want to... grind for any stuff you can get from the bat, you just, go to a specific screen and keep fighting the same bat whose pattern you have figured out over and over. Doesn't look like there was anything particularly cool in any of those areas that we couldn't get to moving from left to right. It really seems like that's a thing we could pass through, but it is not. Annoying as this seems, I'm not sure we're going to be able to get that treasure chest right now. I think there's a movement thing we're going to need to do to get it from the right later when we can pass through something that small. We've got some hoop rounds, which I guess are high penetration rounds. They're not using, like, actual ballistic terminology I'm familiar with, like, oh, hollow point. They are. It's hollow point. So you have soft point and hollow point. That follows, actually. And 5 gold. We'll be up to, like, 64k or whatever to buy that fancy coin any old time now. There's a base lard. Is this a new type of dagger? Surprise gift. Hurl your equipped weapon at enemies. You can use it with the base lard, which is why they just gave it to us. And various variations on that weapon we do not have yet. That is the kind of thing, if I felt like being a completionist, I could practice that skill off screen, whether or not I intend to use it. Now we have some neat graphical stuff going on here. Some cool design decisions being made as far as things scrolling in a little bit different way from what we might be used to. So there's actually something going on here, or maybe to our advantage to come down here. This section of game will eventually be a lot more important than it is right now, but at the moment we might be able to grab a few neat treasures by wandering around under the causeway. As you might expect if you're a fan of Metroidvania games, it's not just one or two screens, there's a whole section of game to be explored underground, but there's not a whole lot of it we'll be able to access at this point. I had meant to check whether we gain money by just flat out killing enemies. So we are 8,900 gold. Oh. 8950 gold. Well, I'm certainly glad well, if I hadn't already done it, I would have loaded the save where I bought an 8-bit coin, had I known there was one waiting in a treasure chest that we would get later in this same video. Obviously. Ow. We will eventually get the ability to move much faster through these screens that don't involve a lot of opposition. Right now, we're being weighed down by our pirate hat and stone mask. So I say 8950? 8960. Okay. Better double check. I don't do much damage, but my complete inability to hit them right now is annoying me. Don't think we're going to be able to open this door. Oh, never mind. I completely misinterpreted what the big... Yeah, that's right. The big glowy red doors just mean it's a new area. There's a different marking if they are locked and inaccessible. Okay, well now I actually... But we're... Okay, so this is what I'm thinking. We will not be able to progress here. 8975. Let's see if we can actually... Because you do this floaty routine. I'm not taking damage or anything, as long as I stay above water level. 9880. Now, can I kill this guy? And if so, does he drop money automatically? 8980. No, so as I suspect, you don't get money just for killing enemies. They have to actually drop money, or you have to find it in candles and whatnot. Could come here and come in and out of the screen over and over, killing that guy until I find its shard. And there are certainly underwater enemies that will give you shards that are useful in navigating underwater environments, but we're not going to get the actual game-changing movement ability just out of a regular old enemy. It's going to be something that is prompted in a boss fight, something that is mandatory. I believe, more so maybe than the original Symphony of the Night, this game doesn't have that many areas where you don't have to even set foot there. A lot of areas you don't have to fully explore. And there's, again, mild spoilers, there's a bad end you can get early, where if you miss certain things, you get to what seems to be the ending, but you haven't discovered what's really going on, and therefore don't properly address the real threat. And there's entire areas of the game that aren't accessible unless you are working towards the good end. Okay, the entrance. Looks like we're dealing with Millennia and she's dropping traps on us or something. So the game will open up a good bit here if I really want to do more off-screen grinding. It's pretty essential that I get us at least this far because we can explore a map with a lot of different enemy types. We are going to kill a bat eventually. There we go. These may or may not be Kickstarters. I seem to be moving rather trepidatiously there. It's because sometimes portraits in this game will come flying off the wall and attack you. They are monsters. These ones do not appear to be. That's probably later that we get those enemies. Small webbing. Okay, so not that shockingly, the stuff that gave us access to the bat scarf, which we got by the game just giving it to us without killing any enemies for it, but to replenish our supply involves killing bats. Not that shocking. Most of the time, the things enemies drop kind of make some sense. Occasionally you're like, why is this demon dropping cotton? But still. Here we go. This... If I don't miss my guess, this might be... Oh, I was going to show you the rat. So it will eventually explode into ballistic enemies. Did I get the name of it or not? I think I missed it, but we can check it out. It should have been... was it Sabnok? It was Sabnok. That's one of the enemies we need to kill for that one lady's quest. Personal data? That's not what I actually meant to look up. Compendium? Ah, quests. So... we haven't killed any Girgamuns. Oh, we have to kill 2 Sabnoks. So let's get on that. I guess if we skip down, we'll get to here. Oh, no, never mind. We have to... I don't understand the order they're in. We have to kill something called IGA, which I thought that's might have been what it is, but it is not. Okay, so honestly, simplest thing to do here is just exit and re-enter the screen, and we know the next time we get back to the village, we've actually achieved progress against this guy. See, it just does this, like, kind of goofy splinter bomb attack. And when I say kind of goofy, I mean downright goofy. It's a goofy attack. Cotton. Cotton, you're going under cover. So as fun as the giant rat exploding attack is, it's not really the best thing we've got at our disposal. Ghosts, head flail, Gale Crusher. I don't feel any particular need to show all of these off, but Thrashing Tentacle is sort of periodic attack. It's pretty good and useful. Unfortunately, I have to go all the way down here to see if it dropped anything. Oh, never mind. I can't get over there anyway yet. You have some ability to kind of influence where these things go, but we don't have the jumping. We don't have the mobility techniques to get over there yet. We can now one-shot those guys, which makes them a lot less of a pain. Riddle enemies with a blur of thrust too fast to count. 1,000 blossoms. Don't think we actually have any rapier-type weapons yet. Maybe I meant to have found one that I missed. Usually start giving you technique books for techniques that you can't use. Oh, never mind. We can't get to this thing. It's just right here. We've got a leather chest guard. The one equipment item which doesn't change your opinion at all is your actual main armor. But leather chest guard does not appear to be anything special at this point, so we can ignore it. Don't like selling anything in this game because you never know when an alchemy recipe might be take an older piece of equipment and upgrade it by adding something new. Not a big deal when that happens. You just got to go buy the old one if you sold it previously. So it's like a minor loss. But yeah, I just don't like to be in the habit of selling stuff in a game that will sometimes surprise you with uses for old items. These guys are also a pain. Although I remember my previous play, this was I wasn't as manic about getting getting crystals up to level 9 for lots of stuff. I kind of did it in the Galleon Minerva just because I felt like getting a bit ahead before starting the Let's Play proper. But I'm not going to try to get everything up to level 9. But those little demon dog guys, I did. They struck me as an enemy, but that was a good idea. Oh, here's another screen with ghosts on it. So if I wanted to grind for more of them, I can. Somebody donated and sent in a picture of a cat because the internet. Looks like I'm one-shotting ghosts now with the whip, which I still don't find its attack range something that I'm great with. But it might be well advised to get better because at the moment it is one-shotting enemies that we might not be able to do with a lot of our other weapons. I think I'm officially going to take my shards off of Thrashing Tentacle because it is ludicrously expensive. So we are now covered in blood. If only we had dark metamorphosis, we could get some use out of this. That actually will be important later, but for right now, there's not a whole lot we can do. 500 gangsters. This might not have been worth the trip. We wanted that money, but I think we'd be better off coming up this top path and working our way over there. Assuming that the top path actually crosses over, which it might not. Capacity. Capacity plus, capacity plus. Keep it working on increasing capacity plus. Hey, Blood Grinder Night Crystal. Nice. Heretical Grinder. Extend a shaft of rotating blades in the designated direction. Ah, that might be a, that's a directional one. Well, we can try it out. If I remember how. That's the kind of thing. Might be a good DPS against stationary bosses. Could be, could be. Might be a big old waste of time. We need to actually try it out. You really seem like you are a crystal I should be able to get. Or, not a crystal, but a... Okay. I'm fundamentally misunderstanding something about what this whip does and doesn't hit. Alright, friend. Getting better at hitting mobile. Ah, crap, missed a... Oh, and there's a book. Take a look, it's in a book reading rainbow. Spin enemies. Spin towards your enemies and transfer your momentum to your blade. Can be done with Pelikas Berdish and Ukan Basara. I don't know. I think I know what a Berdish is. Or Berdish. But, like a polearm? I don't know. Never know which of these series Ald is watching, but he's always pulling out the medieval weaponry knowledge when needed, so feel free to comment. I'll read it if you do. If you don't, I won't be affected. Oh, plot.
Miriam? It can't be.
Alfred? Batman's butler?
Alfred?
Batman's butler.
Why are you here? Johannes, that fool of an apprentice should have stayed out of this.
You have a lot to explain for. After all the terrible things you've done?
Explain for?
All that is in the past. I'll not be defending my actions to you.
Don't I deserve it? You were like a father to me.
Oh yeah, one of those like terrible fathers though.
Enough, child. I am here for the book. Jeeble has the book.
I thought it was Gable. No, I think you're right.
What are you talking about?
The book? Do-do-do-do-do-do. The book. Do-do-do-do-do-do.
If you don't already know, then let us keep it that way.
Okay.
Alfred, how are you still alive?
I teleported here when I heard your voice.
Ugh, what were you thinking in coming here?
You can answer my question first.
All that matters is that I am alive. Did you come here for the book?
All that matters is that you didn't answer my question.
Book? The Liber Logaeth?
No, I'm talking about like something from Daniel Steele. Of course, the Liber Logaeth.
Make no mistake.
I'm taking the
I won't
belt.
let anyone touch that tome but me.
Not even you should touch it. Didn't what happened 10 years ago teach you anything?
You will not touch it. I'll lick the cover so you can't touch it.
I don't have time to argue with you. I just hope you are wise enough not to get in my way.
So there's a lot of like attitude, all growly and nasty, but a lot of hints that he's not really a bad guy. Didn't quite know what to make of this character. We will be finding out more, as you would expect, as we continue.
What?
What? Did a stutter?
You know full well my power exceeds yours. Take Miriam and leave this place. Otherwise, you will die.
Slowly.
I came here because something didn't feel right. But I didn't expect him.
Now things feel really not right.
Johannes, what is the Liber Logaeth?
Don't worry about it. I'm sure it's not important.
It's a book the Alchemy Guild once possessed that allows for the summoning of spirits.
Oh, like gin and vodka?
The guild used it to bring about the calamity 10 years ago. And the Shardbinder's crystal acted as a kind of catalyst.
A book like that shouldn't even exist.
And this... see, sessions like this, these little sections, are why I get annoyed by the stone mask and pirate hat give me better stats, so I feel compelled to use them. Because she looks like a complete gork during this plot scene.
I know. Alfred must be trying to restore the Alchemy Guild to power. But we cannot let him lay hands on the Liber Logaeth.
We don't really know what he wants to do with it, but yeah, generally, it kind of sounds like you're on the right track.
He said Jeeble had it. You know, I think I might have seen it.
Was it a demon lady with a Eye of Sauron head? No, we actually did. He was carrying a book that was kind of telegraphed a bit.
It makes sense, considering the situation we're in.
What's the situation? So he should let her go deal with Gable and then steal the book, because she didn't know it was important.
He must have gotten his hands on it after surviving the sacrifice.
The final sacrifice, 7 years later.
So now I have to stop Alfred too.
Well, shouldn't be too hard. Just get Batman to tell him to leave us alone.
No, let's focus on Jeeble. If we can get to him and the book before Alfred does, we'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Because we're definitely killing Alfred.
Good point. All right.
Good point. Relax.
Dominique might know what to do about Alfred in the meantime. I'll head back to the village and see what she has to say.
Hear what Captain Planet has to say.
So there'll probably be more plot dialogue with Dominique when we get back, but we're not being pushed back yet. So that is a door that we can do nothing with. This whole section, we're getting kind of into the limits of what we can do. There's a reason plot was for us there, because we're coming up on where we're not going to be able to do much more without actually getting more plot going. Because we're going to run into areas that we just don't have the mobility chops to deal with. Guardian silence this. Oh, I remember there being a difficulty spike here, but I don't think I might not have crazy power level quite as much. There's also some really interesting looking enemies here. Oh, I thought we'd killed that. I guess we hadn't. Like when pigs fly enemies. Oh, Plume Parma. We got some flying pig power now. Summon Plume Parma. Yeah, a lot of the enemies just plume pork. That might be for recipes. There's a lot of enemies that don't give us something don't really have a special attack that they can help make us do, plausibly. So they just, like, act as kind of... Oh, mocha oil. We'd been looking for that to make pizza dough. Did that come from an enemy or from a... Fly trap. Place of mocha will be down the ground. Oh, mocha oil came from those mocha enemies. That would make sense. And, okay, well, apparently now we know where to go farm that. So honestly, what we really need now is to find a save point so I can just call it a video and consider calling it a session. Or a teleporter. Because we're kind of deep enough in now that, like, teleporters that get you right back to the village could be a thing. Because of how dramatic that thing's death animation is, I keep thinking I'm getting a crystal when I am not. I mean, I'm sure it drops crystals, and I'm sure they're probably pretty good. Some of the big, scary monsters are the ones that drop passive crystals, if I recall right. And honestly, I'd love to get any passive crystal would be good, because it's a slot that is currently wasted. I don't want to be grinding for this on screen, do I? I might have to come back and just kind of repeat what I'm doing. There we go. Let's at least see what it is, and then I'll really be able to decide if it's worth grinding over. Passive shard. Yep, that's what I kind of thought. Sword expertise. Increases single-handed sword and club damage. Well, I'm not using swords, but honestly, would not be a terrible idea. This would not be a bad impetus to switch. Jimmy Smiths. Yeah, but see, this is the kind of thing we can't actually get where we want to go on this screen. We don't have the mobility chops. So I'll take advantage of the kind of weird backlash effects. Well, I guess even when you don't have the boots equipped, the charge does some damage. I don't think I quite understood that before. Alright, let's see if we can't... This seems like a likely location. Did I already read this? Oh, DXO 1764. Whilst attempting to create my homunculus, I discovered a strange formation of white crystal growing on the subject. What is it? A sign, at long last, that my studies are progressing? I must observe it diligently and learn all I can. CXH 1764. The crystal I discovered appears to be multiplying. Slowly, its corruption spreads through the cadaver I chose as a subject. It is a marvelous substance, neither entirely liquid nor solid. As soon as I have enough, I shall begin experiments that discovers other properties. Sounds like somebody's messing with forces that probably shouldn't be touched. Found a save point rather than a teleport, but it still gives me a good feeling about ending the video. And I can check and see if indeed we've been recording, and we have. Had a recent Death Stranding scare on that's got me a little paranoid. When we come back next time, I'll probably kind of vaguely make our way back towards the village, since we discovered some plot. But we haven't hit the end of what we can explore. We can go back to that Garden of Silence, or whatever it's called. Sorry, I probably should have ended the video before I slurped that down. But yeah, actually, okay, next time we might just go explore the Garden of Silence until we can't explore anymore, because it is a place where I think we could get our first familiar. And as I mentioned, like, having entire slots that are not used just kind of gets on my nerves. So when we come back next time, not sure what we'll be doing, but we're definitely going to be making some story progress. Or map progress. Some kind of progress. See you then.